AreaSports.net proudly presents The Sports Couch. The Sports Couch, one of the area's longest-running local sports talk shows, featuring interviews with area coaches, athletes, and other media personnel covering the sports in our area. Who will be on the couch this morning? Let's find out. The Sports Couch starts now. And hello again, sports fans. Welcome to another edition of the Sports Couch here live on AreaSports.net and coming soon to a radio station near you. I'm Randy Olson, live in studio, and man, we got the whole gang here this morning. How about that? It's a rainy day, and that means, Danny can't be in the field today, right?
That's right.
So Danny Anselment's back with us today. Good to see you. And look who the cat drug in. And Billy Baseball.
Billy Baseball.
Billy Rockett is in the house as well.
With the new manager.
Yeah, with the new manager, David Ross, and for your Cubbies. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. Yeah, you said it was going to be Joe Girardi.
Well, I thought it would, but I don't know.
Well, we'll talk about that.
Stranger things has happened.
Stranger things have happened. Hey, guys, week 9 of the high school football season. The regular season is behind us, except for a couple of games this afternoon, but the playoff implications are taking shape, and we've got 6 different playoff coaches on the show with us today. That'll be fun.
Be a good group.
Be a lot of fun.
They all ought to be in a good mood.
They
all
should.
Be in a good mood. Yeah, no doubt about that. They should be, and we'll be talking 2A, 3A, and 4A football because that's kind of the range of the classes that these coaches are in. So stay tuned for that because we're going to talk to Coach Justin Townsend of the Fairfield Mules, Coach Matt Music of the Olney Tigers, Coach Brian Beery of the West Frankfort Redbirds, Coach Brian Tackitt of the Flora Wolves, Coach Kevin Greene of the Salem Wildcats, and Coach Jeff Rush of the Hamilton County Foxes. You guys, of course, big Foxes fans, and you got to be just thrilled with the win that Hamilton County had last night, going down to Carmine, shutting them out.
Yeah, I was following that game pretty close last night.
35-0.
So, yeah, it's been 13 years, so. You know, it's ironic. I was listening to Rush 2112 on music coming up here a while ago.
Yep. How about that?
It popped up on Pandora, and I'm like, wow.
And you're going to be talking to Jeff Rush.
I'm going to be talking to Jeff Rush.
There you go. All right. Yeah, but no, I'm not surprised that they went down and won the game, Danny, but I'm surprised they went down and shut them out on senior night.
Yeah, Carmi has played pretty decent all season. It was a deal of who wanted to go to the playoffs last night, and the Foxes come out and set the tone early. They took their first possession and scored, and after that, it was pretty much Foxes the rest of the game.
They're around third quarter, I think. Didn't they score 2 touchdowns within 4 minutes of each other?
Yep, back to back.
Yeah, because both teams came in 4-4 last night. So
both
had chances.
The winner was going to the playoffs.
Yeah. So
Carmi's come back to the pack a little bit. Their numbers are down, and this group of Foxes are the beneficiaries of that junior Foxes football program. This is the kids that started that program out, and I think you're seeing the fruits of that labor there right now.
I think Jeff Rush will be a little giddy today.
I believe he will be too.
He got a nice cold bath last night.
Did he really?
Well, I seen that picture. And I didn't know if they completely got him or not.
I'm not sure the first one got him, but I think the second one's the
well,
one that got him.
About that because I've thought about that all night last night. I'm like, I'm going to write that down on my notes.
Man, that'd be a cold night to have one of those Gatorade showers.
Bus driver have that heater on.
Ooh, boy, sure would be. All right, well, Danny's going to run through our scores, and then we will get our first guest on the line with us.
All right, the Fairfield Mules last night go to 29-0 in the Black Diamond Conference with a 35-13 win over El Dorado, but that's the most points they've gave up in a game all season. So the Eagles didn't make it easy on them. Chester, they're cruising along. They're at 7-2, 48-26. Hamilton County moves to 5-4 with a 35-0 start. And the last 3 games, Billy, they've pitched an 8, an 8, and a 0. Defense is playing pretty good for Jeff Rush. For Cesar beat Vienna 56-8. There's a program that may be on the verge of folding.
Could be.
They're down to they had 17 kids to start the season, and that's a co-op.
Yeah. Have you ever been to their field?
Yeah, I have. My son played there.
Behind McDonald's?
Yeah, my son played there on a Saturday afternoon when it was about 110 degrees and no water.
There's no.
No, I've been there one of those
terrible.
days too. It's a bad situation down there at Vienna. Yeah.
Johnson City at Edwards County this afternoon. And that's an interesting. People wonder why they're playing at 1 o'clock this afternoon. They couldn't find any officials for the game last night. We've talked about this amongst ourselves quite a bit, but this officiating is going to get to be a serious deal.
Yeah, it is.
From the Little Illini, Paris beat Flora 53-14. Newton beat Marshall 21-18. Olney clinches Emma spot with a 26-13 win over Robinson. Casey Westfield 47, Red Hill 6. A team that you probably don't want to play, the Vandalia Vandals, 45-7 over Greeneville. They finished 9-0 on the season. Pana took out some aggression on Hillsboro, 61-14. Then Carlinville says, well, we can one-up you there. They put 68 on the board over 6 to Litchfield.
Yeah.
Roxana 42, Piazza Southwest 0. Gillespie 39, Stanton 24. Benton rebounds from getting beat by Murfreesboro to shut out Anna 40-0. And Murfreesboro is a team here. They beat undefeated DuQuoin team and undefeated Benton team week to week. 46-13. They've outscored their opponents 336-56.
I don't think anybody wants to play Murfreesboro.
I don't know.
In the playoffs. No.
Salem Wildcats are moved to 7-2 with a 28-14 victory at Massac after a long bus ride. Mater Dei gets playoff eligible with a 35-28 win over Waterloo. Nashville rebounds. They beat West Frankfort 49-20. In the battle of the winless, Pinckneyville beat Carlisle 38-14 to move to 1-8 on the season. Centralia, first time in school history they've beat a 7A football team.
How about that?
They beat Collinsville 28-0 last night. Marion rolls on 29-7.
Collinsville's hadn't won a game all year, had they?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
No. Effingham 42, Freeburg 20. Carbondale rolls along over Harrisburg 62-7. Breeze Central 25, Heron 21. Columbia 41, Jerseyville 7. Highland 42, Charleston 14. Muscuda 62, Carterville 10. Mount Carmel and Mount Vernon, that was an interesting game. I think there was a lot of action there, 44-14.
A record 42 penalties called in that one.
Bethalto 42, Taylorville 6, Redbud 40, Sparta 26. Cahokia 28, O'Fallon 21. And in a mud bowl this afternoon, it'll be Lawrenceville at Trenton Westland.
Yeah, that game won't have any playoff implications at all because both those teams are out of it. So, but it'll be a soggy day there, as it'll be a soggy day in Albion today too, when Edwards County takes on Johnson City. All right. Well, as you said, the Fairfield Mules winners again last night over El Dorado by a score of 35-13. It was senior night there at El Dorado, and the Mules finish off and wrap up another undefeated 9-0 season, another conference championship in the Black Diamond. They will have a home game in the playoffs next week. We still got to find out later tonight who it's going to be. Well, let's talk to Coach Justin Townsend of the Mules right now. Good morning, Justin. How are you?
I'm doing great, guys. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Great to have you on the show again with us, and congratulations on the win last night. And, hey, you faced some adversity last night, and there's nothing wrong with that going into the playoffs because you found out something about your guys last night and how they could respond, didn't you?
Absolutely. That game played out a lot how I thought it might. I knew that El Dorado would be fired up for us, going down there to play their senior night. They're trying to get another playoff win to get to 6 and maybe get a little bit better of a seed. And, they have 3 really good running backs, 3 big physical running backs, 3 kids that are around 200 pounds that run downhill. They always fall forward and, have some big linemen. And they got off the ball really well. I thought up front, I obviously had several films on El Dorado, and I saw them in person twice this year. I thought maybe that's the best that they've played up front wise, and they came out and drove the length of the football field and scored on us and got up on us 6-0. And we made a few adjustments defensively, offensively. We just kept doing what we've been doing all year, mixed in run pass. Had some big time plays by our playmakers, and they really didn't stop us offensively, so I was really pleased with what we were able to do out of that, but I was really pleased with our defense when it came down to it. We had some big-time stops in the second half. Had a big 4th and 1 inside the 10 that we were able to get the ball back that really kind of changed some momentum of the game, and just can't say enough about our kids. We wanted some adversity. We wanted to kind of be tested a little bit, and we definitely got that. It wouldn't have helped us going into the playoffs to go down there and win 40-0. That wouldn't have helped us. But the way this game played out, the way some things happened, We had a few guys get dinged up. We had to throw some guys out there that probably haven't played a lot at that position in game. And they just stepped up and did a tremendous job. I'm very proud of our guys.
Yeah, you got to tip your hat to El Dorado. They got 246 yards rushing last night, and that's the first time all year you've given up more than 100 yards to a single rusher, as Ladea Shoemaker, I think, rushed for 107 yards last night for the Eagles, so that's a first. But you mentioned a couple guys getting dinged up last night. I know Luke Dagg got hit pretty hard one time, and so did Cade Carter. Those guys doing all right, and did anybody else get banged up?
Yeah, Cade just got the wind knocked out of him, got clipped in the back. You mentioned the rushing. We still did pretty well against the rushing. I think they had maybe 70 of those yards on the last series. Mm-hmm. And then we held Shoemaker under 100. He's super explosive, but then he hit a long run out of on the end. Mm-hmm. So, I'm super proud of our defense, just the way that we adjusted to some things that they were doing. And we had to change up scheme-wise, and I just thought the way our guys adjusted on the fly was great. But back to the injuries, I don't think anything happened last night that's going to cause our guys to miss the playoffs. Both those guys are right back in there and played the rest of the game. It was a very, very physical game, probably the most physical game that we've been in all year. I think, I would think Coach Clark and El Dorado would probably tell you the same thing. It was, two playoff caliber football teams going at it. And, it was good to see, and I'm sure if you're a fan there, it was good to watch.
Yeah, Coach, I'm sure you got to be pleased with how you were able to adjust on the fly. For El Dorado to take the ball and score on the first time, you haven't gave up any points all season long that amounts to anything, and I'd say they was almost a little bit of probably not a panic, but they're just probably saying, "Hey, what just happened here?"
Yeah, well, Carmi scored on their first drive against us too. So I mean, it's and it wasn't like they took the ball and they had a big play and just that was it. I mean, we made them earn it that first drive.
Right.
They grinded out a little bit. So it's kind of very with what they were doing. They were more they've beginning of the year they were a little more shotgun. Well, now they're back kind of double tight, straight T, which is what they've had a lot of success with over the year. And with the big backs that they got, I think that may be the best thing that they can do going forward. So, they were getting 3-4 yards a pop,
mm-hmm.
3-4 yards a pop, and just enough to keep moving the chains, kind of similar to like what we like to do. And we just couldn't get that one negative play in that first drive. That was the thing. You got a team like that, the straight T, or a team like us, double wing. You want to try to get us in a 2nd and 9 or a 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7, and then you got to adjust your play calling a little bit. And we weren't able to do that on the first series. But I think from that point on, we had that play. We were able to make that play in the 1st or 2nd down to kind of put them in a situation where they got to adjust their play calling.
Well, as a coaching staff, that's got to please you pretty much because you know where you're headed now. You're going to be to the playoffs, and the competition is going to step up week to week, and you're going to have to be able to do those things if you want to keep advancing. Yeah,
absolutely. From here on out, you're going to be playing a good team every week, and as we know better than anybody, and we've been on both sides of it. Just because you draw a 5-4 team, that doesn't mean that that's not a good football team. It's probably going to be a pretty good football team, and we've been 5-4 too, and gone and played an 8-1 and 9-0 team, and played them within a touchdown. We've done that a couple times, so we know at this point in the season, anybody you play is probably a great football team, and then you're also going to know that in this day and age with video exchange and things like that, they're going to have plenty of film on you, and they're going to be prepared. So there's not going to be any surprises at this point.
Well. Coach, speaking of playoffs, let's take a look at who your opponent might be. I'm sure you've been trying to look at the numbers and things like that on the IHSA website, and nobody knows for sure what they're going to do. But some names that pop out to me, I'm looking at perhaps Roxana, maybe Alton Marquette, maybe a Carlinville, and maybe even a West Frankfort. I mean, it could go. Go ahead.
A lot of it with us. Sorry. First off, if the Chicago Public League strike doesn't happen, we are probably 2A. And so that would have been definitely interesting. But with that happening, we're pretty much assured 3A will probably be one of the, 4 or 5 smaller schools in 3A. And we've kind of thought that all year. That's where we might be. The big thing is what's kind of the hiccup for the South. Every projection that I have seen has Beardstown going south. Well, Beardstown's 9-0, very good. The thing that they got on Williamsville, Fairfield, and Vandalia is they have more playoff points.
Yeah.
So if they get pushed south, they are automatically going to be your number one in the South.
Mm-hmm.
And so that automatically pairs them up pretty much with Newton. Newton's going to get in at 5-4, but their playoff points are going to be a little low.
Mm-hmm.
So then the interesting thing that happens is you got Fairfield, Vandalia, and Williamsville all tied with the amount of points. And then you got some 5-4 teams. Burden, North Mac is one that comes to mind. St. Joe Ogden is another one that comes to mind.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be tied, so they're probably going to be your 14-15. And then you got an Alton Marquette. They actually play today. I think they'll win, but they're
Right.
automatically in
Mm-hmm.
because they are conference champs. They're 4-4. They'll probably be 5-4. So there's your pool of teams, and then you got the 3 top teams, the Williamsville, Fairfield, and Vandalia. They're all tied in points. So how they decide to, or how the computer decides, I don't know how that works. But I think
I don't know either.
But I think there's a pretty good chance that's your 3 teams that we potentially could be playing.
Yeah.
And he said something about the Chicago Public League. I was reading last night where the IHSA did do the 8-game waiver, but the 3-game practice still stands in effect. So this strike has to be done by Tuesday.
Right, but that's the thing. They've made that decision that they're going to put those teams in. So there's potential for teams up north, and it doesn't really filter much down into 3A. I think 3A North, there may be a team or 2, but they're going to get a forfeit win essentially.
Yeah, uh-huh.
And that's it is what it is, and it doesn't really affect maybe us a lot down south. But what I saw, kind of the projections I saw, is it really started changing some things up in 4A and 5A. Like the projection I saw potentially was for Rochester to get down into 5A. That'd probably be pretty scary for some 5A teams.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh,
For sure.
Yeah.
Definitely would be, Coach. Yeah. Well, the nice thing we know is that being 9-0, you're going to have a home playoff game next Saturday, and that's got to be exciting for you and the team and certainly the community.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if it's just because there was the anticipation that we were going to do this, go 9-0 again. We've done it 3rd year in a row, or maybe you kind of got the feeling after week 5 or 6, hey, there's that potential for us to go 9-0. It's just, I think it's kind of like an expected thing, but what we accomplished this year is a tremendous accomplishment. I mean, we're 9-0. We are undefeated conference champs. We've won 29 consecutive conference games. I'm super proud of our kids. I mean, to keep this going the way that we have, all the credit goes to them and the work that they put in. And our community's pretty excited about football right now, and we got a great volleyball team right now, and things are great right now here in Fairfield, and kids and everybody's excited about the sports. Next week's going to be an awesome week for us. We got regionals going on for volleyball, and then we're going to have a playoff football game on Saturday. And
the sports community in Fairfield's been excited for a while.
It's going to be a great atmosphere.
Are you going to be having a watch party tonight on IHSA TV to see who you get?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get together at the cafeteria, and I think Channel 3 WSIL. Carterville's going to carry it, so
great.
I'll sit and probably eat some pizza and watch. And I sat there and I gave you some potential teams. I don't know.
No, well, none of us know.
You try to look a little bit and just kind of have an idea. But I tell you, with Fairfield, we've been over to Columbia for a game. We've been up to St. Joe Ogden for a game. We went to Pittsfield a long time ago. That's way up there.
Sure it is.
Oh, yeah.
And, so with us, with where we're located, just on the east side, and we're, it's hard. It's hard to find team. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. And just because they go north and south, it doesn't mean that they make a straight line across, and sometimes that line, or it's not straight, it's crooked.
Yeah.
You got to remember who you're dealing with.
Yeah, that's why I was trying to refrain from saying that because I was an official for 18 years and I know how they work.
Yeah, you know what? But it beats the alternatives. Not wondering.
Yeah,
so,
right.
We're excited. It's fun to look at, and whoever we get, we're going to be ready to go.
Well, Coach, again, congratulations on the win last night and another 9-0 perfect regular season. 29 Black Diamond Conference wins in a row. That's incredible.
I think they're thinking about renaming the conference.
Yeah. There's only going to be one more year of the conference, too, and then we're going to district play. So, but best of luck as you find out who the draw is, and we'll talk to you again, okay?
Okay, thanks.
Take care. Bye-bye. That's Coach Justin Townsend of the Fairfield Mules. Big pizza party tonight, guys, in the cafeteria as they try to find out who they play.
They're saying it's not on DirecTV or Dish.
They'll.
I think it is on one of those Chicago stations. If you got one of those Chicago NBC stations, I think
the
it
Bulls
will be.
are on.
Oh, really? Well, maybe so.
Yeah.
But he just said WSIL TV3 is carrying it, so that's good. All right, well, guys, when we come back,
they're going to have playoff football.
Yeah. Yep, going to be interesting.
The championship.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey, when we come back, we're going to visit with Coach Matt Music of the Olney Tigers. They're also headed to playoffs. Let's find out how excited he is. We'll visit with Matt coming up next. Stay tuned. Are you going out of town for a vacation or a weekend getaway? What are you going to do with your dog? That's easy. There's Jaggers Doggy Daycare in Mount Vernon. Jaggers Doggy Daycare is your one-stop shop for overnight dog boarding, doggy daycare, as well as dog grooming and obedience dog training. It's your dog's home away from home, and they will thrive, and they'll get one-on-one attention by a great staff. More information is available on the web at jaggersdoggydaycare.com. Jaggers Doggy Daycare, 414 Main Street in Mount Vernon.
There's good news for those interested in removing unwanted body hair and for individuals needing spider vein treatment or facial rejuvenation. General Surgeon Dr. Patrick Molt is offering the latest in laser technology at his office in Fairfield. Dr. Molt, along with certified laser technologists Sheila Vaughn and Jessica Molt, are able to perform painless laser procedures on all skin types. To learn more about removing hair, spider veins, facial redness, large pores, acne scarring, and fine lines, contact General Surgeon Dr. Patrick Molt's office in Fairfield.
Sometimes you need an attorney who can look out for your interest. Located just a short drive away in Mount Vernon, Olson & Reeves offer a free consultation to discuss your needs. Everything is discreet and confidential. At Olson & Reeves, they can provide you with consultation and assistance with traffic law and DUIs, estate planning, living wills, divorce, real estate contracts, personal injury and accidents, as well as medical malpractice. Call Olson & Reeves, attorneys at law in Mount Vernon at 316-7322. Welcome back to the Sports Couch here live on a Saturday morning. I'm Randy Olson in studio along with Danny Anselment and Billy Rockett. It's playoffs. We're talking playoffs. Playoffs. Yeah, we are. The Olney Tigers are headed to the playoffs after their win last night over Robinson, and they are 7-2 on the season. They beat Robinson last night 26-13, and their playoff-bound coach, Matt Music, joins us right now. Good morning, Matt. How are you?
Hey, good morning. Thanks for having me.
You bet. Good to have you on the show. Congratulations on the win last night over Robinson, 26-13. You're sitting here this morning 7-2, and you got to be feeling pretty happy about headed to the playoffs.
Yeah, definitely. Anytime you can play in a Week 10 game and possibly be on, that's always a great thing for the program, for the school, for the town and community. So, yeah, we're really excited. Played a gutsy game last night without some of our starting offensive players, so future looks pretty bright for Olney Tigers.
So you played without some guys last night. Is that due to injury, you mean?
Yeah, we had one kid has a broken hand, so he was out last night, and then we had a suspension on another one, and then our quarterback was homesick on senior night, so you know he was. Yeah, if he's homesick on senior night. He's not. doing well,
he's pretty bad shape.
He is, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so we had guys step up. We had 2 freshmen start on offensive line. We had I wouldn't call him second string quarterback. I call him 1B, and because he's a really good quarterback for us. So we felt really good, even though we had some guys out, that we could do some things.
Well, I got a picture of your seniors up on the screen right now. It looks like 13 seniors in your football program this year, and talk about how special those guys have been to get you where you're at 7-2.
I knew this group was going to be pretty good all the way through our youth league programs and every sport that they play. They're very talented. A lot of guys that play multiple sports, which is huge. These guys, I mean, they're winners. They compete. Nothing really scares them. They're willing to sacrifice their own playing time to make sure that we got guys in that can help us win, and that's what I appreciate about them. And there's 13 of them, which we had a few more, but we don't. But they're gonna lead us into the playoffs now.
Well, you share the conference championship in the Little Illini with Paris, and again, you're going in the playoffs 7-2 in Class 4A. And have you looked at the situation there with the IHSA? Do you have any idea or predictions at all of who your opponent might be and whether or not you'll go on the road or might sneak into a home game?
Well, I have people that from up in Central Illinois that do all these projections. They see us playing at home, which I feel like our playoff points, having Mount Carmel as a non-conference and them being 8-1 got us a lot of playoff points.
Sure.
So I feel like we're going to be at home. But who we play, I've heard a couple different things, especially with the Chicago strike.
Right.
That shuffled a few teams up north, to the bigger bracket. Who knows? I mean, right now this morning they're telling me Murfreesboro, and that's a 7-2 team that is electric.
Oh, yeah.
I know them very well, and that'd be a extremely tough first-round game. But when you're 7-2, you get who you get, and if it is Murfreesboro, we'll be excited to play them, and hopefully it's up at our place. And if it's not Murfreesboro, we'll get ready for whatever team about 8:15 tonight they tell us we're playing. So, I've heard them, I've heard Salem, I've heard that kind of range there. So I would say it'll be one of those 2 teams.
Well, Salem is 6-3, so that's certainly a possibility. You got Taylorville at 5-4 and Bree Central at 5-4, but those 2 5-4 teams may be playing somebody like Mount Zion or Columbia or Rochester or Effingham, I guess, huh?
Yeah, I would see us at 7-2 playing another 7-2, maybe 6-3 that has a lot of playoff points. So that's where I see where we're at, and getting beat, against Paris and the Mount Carmel game. I mean, we deserve what we get. We'll play whoever we play. Well, we've never been, we've always been appreciative of playing a Week 10 game. Last year, it seemed like we had to get on our charter plane, not our charter bus. So,
yeah.
So we'll play whoever, and we'll be excited.
Football's not like basketball where you can send a scout out because you're going to play a winner of so-and-so and so-and-so next week, You'd have to have 40 scouts in football if you want to try to get film and everything on everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, but here, with the day and age of technology, usually there's stuff out there that, somebody live streams something, or, so there's stuff that'll be out there, but it's not like basketball by any means.
Yeah. Yeah, another team I see as a possibility of you playing is Bethalto because they're 7-2 after their win last night. So, geographically, that's not completely out of the mix either. I mean, that could happen.
I don't think Murfreesboro's in a play for him. Murfreesboro's 8-1 on the season. Their only loss has been
I think 7-2 because of the teacher strike. They're technically 7-2. Yeah, pretty sure.
Yeah, they're Yeah, they're 7-2. They had
Yeah.
that. They got beat by Carbondale game 1, and then
Oh, I forgot about Carbondale.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was thinking they were undefeated in their conference
Yes.
except for the teacher strike.
Yes.
Yeah.
Carbondale.
Yep. So that's they're 7-2. They're a really, really good 7-2 team. Coach Carter down there is an amazing coach and a great guy.
Yeah, they've outscored their opponents 336-56.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty solid.
Pretty
program.
impressive. You know, I think if they match you guys up with Salem, I think that would be
That'd be a
great
heck of a
matchup.
game.
Yeah, it would.
Good matchup for both teams, actually. I'd like to see that, a Salem-Olney game. It'd be the old NEC rivalry there. Right?
Yeah, if they, I would hope the IHSA would do something like that because the gate that would be at that game.
Oh, yeah.
The amount of people at that game would be unbelievable.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be a playoff atmosphere, that's for sure, wouldn't it?
Oh, man.
No, definitely. They travel really well. Coach Greene does a great job.
Mm-hmm.
And if you play at home, you're going to get a huge crowd there too.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, we're going to have Coach Greene on the show with us a little bit later on. Anything you want us to pass along to him just in case you do play him?
Hey, just tell him I like 8:15. I'm hoping we're trading tape.
Oh, okay. Okay, gotcha. You can do that. Well, hey,
you don't want us to say that you guaranteed you was going to beat him or anything like that?
Hey, Randy. When I seen your lineup today on these coaches, I thought I had a cool last name. I think this one's pretty cool myself.
Oh, Coach Music?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's a great name.
Yeah, Music. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
You ever get that, Coach?
No, never.
Yeah, mine Rocket with 2 T's. I don't either.
Oh, that's great. Well, hey, you mentioned your quarterback missed the senior night game last night, because he was sick, and so tell us about how you filled things in and how you juggled the guys around to successfully run that offense last night without your starting quarterback. That's a big adjustment.
Yeah, I mean, we have our system. We're air raid offense with our running game is outside zone read game, and how we do our practice with our 2 quarterbacks. We pretty well have 2 different systems for them. 2 different. They both have different skill sets, so we just match our game plans. We have 2 game plans that we usually go to, and when Austin's in. He's more of a guy where he is not doing a lot of the RPO stuff, but he can do it. But, he's the guy that can throw the ball around. And so we felt really comfortable about that last night. And then Caleb, he's more of a guy that can throw it, but he is definitely a type of a running back type back there that we definitely run the read game with him. So, that's a tendency, but for us, both guys can run the whole offense, but we pretty well specialize them.
Hey, it works.
And what their strengths are.
Yeah, it works. Hey, these guys that you've had injured, do you hope to get them back here then, playoff time, or what's the prognosis?
Yeah, our goal, hopefully, the kid that broke his hand goes back this week, and they're gonna. It's gonna be up to the doctor, obviously, if we cast it and then pad up the cast. But if not, we got guys. Our program's all about building depth, and I told our guys at the end of the game, you got to trust what we do in the off season all the way through now, and that's why it's paying off. We got guys that just stepped in, and we didn't miss a beat.
Yeah. All right. Well, Matt, hey, thanks so much for the visit this morning on the Sports Couch. Again, congratulations on the win last night over Robinson and improving again to 7-2 on the season. And best of luck as you prepare for the playoffs. Are you having a watch party tonight with you and the players?
No, we don't. We don't do that. I know some of the players are getting together. I'm going to go see my daughter down at USI today.
Okay.
Hopefully, be back by about 7:00 and get settled into the house and
great.
Listen to see who we play.
Yeah. All right. Well, I hope you get a favorable draw, and we wish you luck as you prepare for that playoff berth next week. Thanks for your time today. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye. That is Matt Music, the head coach of the Olney Tigers in 4A football. They are 7-2, and That's a tough situation, guys. You go 7-2, and the way it's stacking up, he feels anyway that he's probably going to play another 7-2 opponent because of the fact there's not enough 5-4s in 4A at this point. And so the what few 5-4s there are will probably feed to the top to the 9-0 guys like Mount Zion and Rochester and Columbia.
You almost feel like at 7-2 you're penalizing yourself a little bit, rather than getting it.
So, I hope for his sake they don't play Murfreesboro because I don't think you want to play Murfreesboro.
No, just give them first round bye.
But I do think a great matchup for Olney would be Salem.
Oh, that would be and for the IHSA, that would be a great deal for them because the gate on that would be everybody would want to see that.
Yes, I just now showed Danny the extended forecast, 51 degrees on next Saturday. That's perfect football weather on a Saturday. Sunny and 51 degrees.
Oh,
be
boy.
A great day.
Yeah.
Hey, while I get set here, guys, to get our next coach on, who's going to be Brian Beery of the West Frankfort Redbirds, let's talk about a little bit of the coaching situation going on in baseball. And, Billy, your former Cub catcher, David Ross, has been named as the new manager of the Cubs, and that kind of surprised you. You thought it was going to be Girardi, huh?
Yeah, I did. I don't know. I didn't sit in on interviews. I told Patty the other night, I said I would give anything to just be a church mouse. Just get my chair and sit over in the corner and go through one of them interviews. I'd give anything. Just one time I could sit in one of them. But,
now, wait a minute. Back up here.
You don't think I keep my mouth shut? Is that why is this where this going?
I don't think you can sit over there and be quiet as a church mouse.
I knew it, Randy. I called it.
Yeah, that's right. Here we go.
But they said and the Girardi thing did surprise me, but it come down to the Houston Astros bench coach, Joe Espada. Is that how you say that? I'm not sure what his name is. But they said what the deal was on that when they did their second interview, they did a mock spring training conference or a press conference, and they said David Ross just blew him out of the water.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you never know what kind of a small thing is going to put you over the hump.
No.
Because these guys are all highly qualified.
Oh, yeah. He's been working in the front office since he retired, besides ESPN. So,
you get to the point that you got to do something to differentiate yourself from the rest of these folks.
Because there's a lot of these teams now is not going with veteran managers. They're going with some of these new managers.
Player coaches, yeah.
You know why?
And, I didn't know who Mike Schilt was I watched the Cardinals a lot. I didn't know who Mike Schilt was. Had no clue who he was.
You know why? Because it goes all the way down to high school sports. The old guys cannot relate to this new generation of parents and kids.
Players,
yep. It's a new generation all across the board, guys. I don't care if you're working in retail or what you're doing. We're in a different.
It's a whole different world.
It's a whole different world. It's
a different world. It's all tied to social media.
And now you got a lot of guys 20 and 21 making it to the major leagues,
right?
And you've got to be able to manage those guys. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, you do. And they said that David Ross could speak Spanish.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And they said that one of the things that young in his career, he wanted to learn how to speak Spanish. And, he butted heads with Lester, and he told him the other day, he said, I'll be the one the first to hold you accountable, make you play hard every day, and if you're not going to give your best, you're going to sit on the bench. I don't think Madden was holding people accountable. It don't matter what you do in life. When you're lazy and this is showing my age, being almost 62 years old. When you're lazy and you screw up a lot, you got to be held accountable for it.
Yeah, you're right. Oh, you got to be. It doesn't matter what age you are. If there's no rules and regulations and people aren't held accountable, and that's what's wrong with society today.
Yes.
It's your fault. It's not mine. What'd you do to cause make me mad?
Exactly.
What'd you do to make me wear my St. Louis Cardinals thing this morning, knowing you, the Cub man, was going to be here?
Yeah, right.
Well,
of course, after the Cubs passed on Joe Girardi, the Philadelphia Phillies picked him up right away, so he's their new manager. So we'll just see how it plays out from both teams.
And that may be a better deal for him. He may be the guy that probably needs to deal with Harper. You've got a kid here that's.
You got to handle him with kid gloves.
You do.
Yeah.
He leaves Washington, and you see what Washington's doing.
Yeah, that's right. All right. Well, we could continue that conversation, but let's jump back into football right now because last night the West Frankfort Redbirds ran into a very, very hot Nashville Hornets team, a team that was coming off a tough loss, and they had something to prove last night. And Nashville won it last night over West Frankfort by a score of 49-20. Of course, both teams are headed to the playoffs, and both teams have had outstanding seasons. West Frankfort will go into the playoffs with a record of 7-2, and joining us on the phone right now is their head coach, Brian Beery. Good morning, Brian. How are you?
Good morning. Thanks for having me on.
You bet.
Show.
Good to have you on the show. Tough loss last night, but I'll tell you what, that's a good Nashville team you played last night, and that was probably about like a playoff atmosphere, I imagine, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Nashville had an outstanding student section that every time we took offense, they were yelling as loud as they could, so I had to try to yell over them. I'm a little bit hoarse, but it was a great atmosphere to be a part of.
I said you were 7-2. I correct myself. You're actually 6-3 after the loss last night, and that puts you kind of in a dubious situation as far as the playoff situation today. Because man, you could go any one of a number of directions. Have you had time to even look at that or try to contemplate or predict what might happen?
If I were to do that, I probably wouldn't have enough time to prepare for games. But no, it's a complex process. So I'll leave that to the experts, and I'll just get ready for the next week. Thinking about any new additions we can add to our offense today.
Yeah. Well, we had Coach Justin Townsend of the Mules, Fairfield Mules, on earlier, and he was alluding to the fact that because of that Chicago teacher strike, that really shuffles the deck quite a bit in all the classes, including 3A. And so, he's like you. He has no idea, where Fairfield will end up playing. They'll play at home, of course, being 9-0, but they could play the West Frankfort Redbirds, or they could play somebody like St. Joe Ogden or Alton Marquette or, Carlinville or Roxanne or who knows. And the same way with you guys. You just have no idea what's going to happen next week in Week 10. But the important thing is you're going to be there.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. I mean, the playoffs, it's a brand-new season. We've got a young team that have worked hard to get themselves to this level. I mean, when you think about playing as many freshmen and sophomores as what we have, it's just impressive to be where we're at, and I'm proud of the fact that these young men are willing to put in the time this season to play at the level they're playing at.
You mentioned a young team that you've got, Brian, the fact that you got a lot of freshmen and sophomores playing. So really, from your perspective and the perspective of a lot of Redbird fans, they probably thought next year was going to be your year. But then here you guys rise to the occasion and you do what you've done this year, and now you're 6-3 and headed to the playoffs. That's got to be a good feeling.
Yeah, it's a great feeling, and you're right. I think we were not expected to win many games this year, but, we've made the playoffs. This is the third time out of 4 years. This senior class has never experienced a losing season at the varsity level since they've been in high school. So when you talk about every level, the seniors have something to be very proud of for their accomplishments, and these freshmen and sophomores for the contribution that they've given to this program is just unbelievable this year.
Yeah, Coach, I heard some people talking. They thought your team might have overachieved a little bit, but then the other guy that was talking said, you know what, that group of seniors has showed some great leadership and valuable experience to these young kids, and said they just thought that your talent blended together real well.
Yeah, it has. We were in dire need of coming up with an offensive line this offseason, and the fact that the kids spent the time that they did in the summer preparing themselves for the physicality of the game, and then throughout the season for mentally preparing themselves. I mean, I can remember when I was a freshman, I was scared to death to step foot on the field with the seniors.
That was just running through my mind right there as a freshman.
Yeah.
That was just running through my mind. It's funny you brought that up.
Well, my son, as a freshman, they played, and he said it was just fun. We was just all out there playing and having a good time. Wasn't no big deal. And he started varsity as a sophomore, and he said, I remember the first time going across the middle to catch a pass, and a guy just waxed him. And he said, I thought this is a whole different deal here. Welcome to the big league, son.
Yeah, when you get freshmen and sophomores out there that can go out there and just put on a show. I remember my first varsity football game as an official. I was so scared and so intimidated that I'm almost ashamed to tell it, because I'm not that type of guy, Right. But God, I got out there and I'm like, God, what have I got myself into?
Yep. the speed of the physicality at the varsity level is just night and difference from lower levels.
It is.
And I used to say the same thing, like the freshman level football games, you play them and it's like, it just seems so slow. And then as a sophomore, it like doubles in speed. And then by the time you hit varsity, it's 10 times the speed.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's got to be real exciting and gratifying to you and to your coaching staff and the fans and players and everything to be where you're at right now with so many underclassmen as part of the squad. But, again, kudos and hats off to the seniors for that leadership and getting you there. And now you just kind of wait and see tonight who your opponent will be. Are you guys gathering together tonight and having any kind of a watch party or what?
Yes, we are. We're having our first ever playoff pairings party at First Baptist Church tonight, put on by the Boosters Club.
Awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. Going to have some pizza and whatever then, I guess. That'd be great.
Definitely. Yep.
Well, that is pretty cool. Well, I guess that was a wild first quarter last night. A lot of action right away in your football game against Nashville. I think it was like 21-7 right away in the first quarter. So anybody who wanted to see some action, they saw it right away, didn't they?
Yes, they did. It was, they kicked off to us, and we went for it on fourth down and probably shouldn't have, but it just, Nashville with their offense, I felt like we needed to risk it. We didn't get the first down, and they scored a touchdown, kicked off to us, and we came right back and scored again.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's great. Health-wise, how are you health-wise with your team, Coach, going into the playoffs in Week 10?
Well, I won't lie. We're beat up. We have a small squad. We have a lot of people playing both ways. So we're pretty beat up, but I'm hoping that this week will give us enough time to rest up and be ready for this upcoming matchup in the playoffs.
All right. Well, we appreciate your time this morning on the Sports Couch. Again, congratulations on a successful season thus far at 6-3. Unexpected by a lot of people, but something to really be proud of. And best of luck as you find out who your playoff opponent is and move into those playoffs next week, okay?
All right. Well, thank you.
Thanks for your time. Take care. All right. Bye-bye.
All right.
Brian Beery, the head football coach of the West Frankfort Redbirds. That's amazing, guys, to have that many freshmen and sophomores out there playing at the varsity level and doing what they're doing, because they really felt like they were a year away.
Yeah, they're probably one of the surprise teams in the area.
Mm-hmm. Like I say, at varsity football, that separates the boys from the men now.
Yeah.
It's a different every level's that way, though. You see these high school kids that are pretty phenomenal athletes, and then they go to a junior college and they just become ho-hum. People that don't watch it and don't follow it don't realize what kind of jump there is at every level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know it.
I liked his description. He said, you're watching a freshman game and it seems like it's moving so slow. And he said you watch a sophomore or JV game and it's like twice as fast, but then you get to the varsity level and it's just a whole nother deal there.
Oh, yeah. It is like Nathan said. He said, we just hit and bang on each other in freshmen, and he said everybody's about alike, and he said I go across the middle and this guy whacks me, and he said I figured out real fast his intention was to hurt me.
Exactly. It's kind of like my first football game ever was a varsity game, and it's El Dorado at Flora. And
as an official?
As an official. Mm-hmm. I walk out there and I look around and I'm like, what have I got myself into?
Yeah. Speaking of longtime football officials, I think next week we're going to try to have Bill Book on the show. He's starting to wrap up his 40th season, I think, in football officiating. Yeah, so we're going to try to get him on the show next week to talk about what he has seen and what has changed in the course of 40 years. I bet he'll have some interesting things to say about that.
Billy could have fit on that crew last night that had the hanky in their hand the whole game. All they did was they just held it and just dropped it 42 times.
Yeah, 42 penalties last night in the Mount Carmel, Mount Vernon game. Hey, we have 3 coaches down and 3 more to go. It's playoff Saturday here on the Sports Couch. We'll be back to talk to Coach Brian Tackitt of the Flora Wolves coming up next. Stay tuned. Are you going out of town for a vacation or a weekend getaway? What are you going to do with your dog? That's easy. There's Jaggers Doggy Daycare in Mount Vernon. Jaggers Doggy Daycare is your one-stop shop for overnight dog boarding, doggy daycare, as well as dog grooming and obedience dog training. It's your dog's home away from home, and they will thrive, and they'll get one-on-one attention by a great staff. More information is available on the web at jaggersdoggydaycare.com. Jaggers Doggy Daycare, 414 Main Street in Mount Vernon.
There's good news for those interested in removing unwanted body hair and for individuals needing spider vein treatment or facial rejuvenation. General Surgeon Dr. Patrick Molt is offering the latest in laser technology at his office in Fairfield. Dr. Molt, along with certified laser technologists Sheila Vaughn and Jessica Molt, are able to perform painless laser procedures on all skin types. To learn more about removing hair, spider veins, facial redness, large pores, acne scarring, and fine lines, contact General Surgeon Dr. Patrick Molt's office in Fairfield.
Sometimes you need an attorney who can look out for your interest. Located just a short drive away in Mount Vernon, Olson & Reeves offer a free consultation to discuss your needs. Everything is discreet and confidential. At Olson & Reeves, they can provide you with consultation and assistance with traffic law and DUIs, estate planning, living wills, divorce, real estate contracts, personal injury and accidents, as well as medical malpractice. Call Olson & Reeves Attorneys at Law in Mount Vernon at 316-7322. Welcome back to the Sports Couch here on a soggy, wet Saturday morning. We're talking playoffs this morning. That's right. I'm Randy Olson, live in studio along with Billy Rockett and Danny Anselment. And last night, the Florida Wolves ran into a buzzsaw as they took on the Paris Tigers. And we found out why Paris is co-champions of the Little Illini Conference last night. They put it on the Wolves by a score of 53-14. But the Florida Wolves have still had a very successful season, a team that won just one game all last season, Danny, and now here they are sitting 6-3 and headed to the playoffs.
Yeah, but I heard last night there were some very interesting things going on the sideline. There was some lady heckling the coach, something about she thought she could do a better job of calling plays than him.
Oh, well,
I don't know if there's any truth to that. I just kind of heard
let's
that.
Let's find out as we check in with Coach Brian Tackitt of the Wolves. How are you this morning, Brian? Any truth to that?
She heckles me all the time, home or on the field. So
always getting heckled, huh?
That's right.
All right.
Billy probably don't know the deal. His son was playing flag football, and he nominated her for the coach. They needed to be another coach, and then he was thinking about heckling her from the sidelines. And I asked him, I said, "Are you sure you want to do this?"
Oh, that's been fun.
Your advice like 2 months ago.
So. Well, hey, that's a tough one last night. Paris put it on you 53-14. First thing I want to ask you right out of the gate, did you get out of that game without getting hurt?
Well, we had a couple kids, a couple skilled kids that had ankle injuries last night. So I don't think they're too bad or too serious. We pulled them at halftime, and
I hope not.
And said there was no reason to risk them continue to play. So we hope they'll be okay this week.
Yeah. Well, again, Paris, a good football program, and they showed why they are co-champions of the conference last night with that win. But, hey, you can't hang your head after that last night because you look at the success you've had this year at 6-3. If I would have asked you at the front of the year if you guys would be 6-3 at this point, Brian, you might not have thought that, and certainly a lot of fans in Florida probably wouldn't have believed it after winning just one game last year. No,
that's true. Excuse me. It's kind of hard. You kind of get. It's kind of one of those things like, what have you done for me lately? And that's the last game of the regular season. If that would have been week 1 and took week 1 to week 9, you kind of have a different feel. But for our body of work, 9 games, and to win 6 of those, and take a look at who we lost to this year. 2 4A playoff teams and 1A playoff team in KZ. So yeah, you're right. I don't think too many people outside our locker room thought that we could get 6 wins this year, get to the playoffs, and body of work that I'll take, that's for sure.
Will your Wolves be in 3A?
That'll be 2A.
We'll be 2A.
2A.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, 6-3 at 2A, and that's again a tough place to be because you don't know for sure exactly where they'll send you at and what direction, and whether you're going to play somebody else that's 6-3 or 7-2. I mean, as you look at it, what do you think?
Yeah, the crazy thing is this depends on your draw, and we could say that hey, we might get another 6-3 and be on the road someplace, but then you kind of look at maybe like an Auburn who's 6-3, and
right,
you're like, I don't know if I want any part of them, and maybe you'd rather go to a 7-2 team. So it just conferences are so different, and high school, it's just so hard to seed. 6-3 doesn't mean you're worse than a 7-2 or an 8-1. It just depends on your schedule. So can't really control where we're going to go. Just kind of sit back and then I guess wait for that time. But I think 7-2. I think is probably where we'll probably be sent to.
Well, if you're looking at 7-2 teams, one team that sticks out to me is Chester at 7-2. I mean, that could be an opponent for you.
Yeah, we've thought of that, and I don't really know too much about Chester. I know that's been a good program in recent history and has had some good playoff success. So, of course, I know Black Diamond team. So, that's a possibility, and if that's the case, then we'll take that opportunity.
Well, I can tell you one thing. If you're going to Chester, you better leave next Friday.
I get ready to say that's a long haul.
There ain't no way to get to Chester, Illinois from anywhere.
No. Helicopter.
Yeah. We had a long trip last night. It was almost a 2-hour bus trip to Paris, but I bet
2 hours will not get you to Chester.
I bet Chester would be even further than that. I've never been to Chester in my life. I've seen pictures of the field. It looks like a kind of a unique place. So,
yeah, it is. Mm-hmm.
They got
need to go there.
They got a nice complex down there, and they got a good team. They've had a pretty good season at the Black Diamond Conference. They're a pretty formidable opponent.
Go to Reed Smorgasbord after the game.
Yeah.
Got a nice smorgasbord.
Another opponent I could see for you that geographically isn't that bad would be Nokomis, and I'm assuming that Nokomis won last night, which would make them 7-2. So that's another possibility, huh?
Yeah, we looked at them too, and we've kind of looked at Tuscola as maybe another possibility. But I don't know anything about Nokomis at all either. I probably know less about them than I do any other potential opponents. But you kind of look at last night I got home and kind of spent some time looking at potential opponents and their schedules and looking at kind of what they have done. So I think Nokomis will be a good draw for us.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know the Chicago teacher strike certainly affected and shuffled the deck a little bit, certainly with the bigger classes. I don't know how much it's trickling down and going to affect 2A. I mean, it certainly probably will some, but
I'd say not very much.
Yeah.
Fairfield's a team that got caught up. They'd probably been 2A before. Now they're going to be 3A because they were on that bubble anyway.
Right. Yeah.
I think for us, I think there was like 7 4-4 teams in 1A last night that were playing.
Yeah.
And, I think with some of the Chicago teams maybe not getting in, some of those 5-4 teams are going to be in for sure, which will bump up some of like a Tuscola at the 2A, which is why maybe I thought they could be a potential opponent for us. So, I mean, maybe not affect the 2A directly, but I think it'll affect, where those enrollment lines are.
Well, it also looks like there might be a bunch of 5-4 teams in 2A, and so I guess there's a possibility that Flora could draw a 5-4 team like Hamilton County, for example.
Yeah, there is a bunch. I think Redbud won last night. So in the 2A South, there looked like there could be 5-6 teams that would be 5-4 that could get in, and that just kind of bumps us up a little bit and. That'd be kind of cool. I don't know if it'll happen, but I played for Coach Rush my senior year, and I was excited for him and that program last night. I mean, not as excited as he was, I'm sure, but it's one of the first scores I checked last night when I got done to see how Coach Rush did. So congratulations to him. I was excited about that.
Well, that could be cool if you got to play against him, your former coach, and who knows, that might happen. El Dorado also is 5-4 after their loss last night, and I think they paired you with El Dorado one other year in playoffs, didn't they?
Yeah, the last time we went 3 years ago, we went down and played El Dorado, and I think we were 6-3 that year. They were 7-2.
Okay,
and they're a good team that year.
Sure.
So that'd be cool too.
Yeah. Okay.
I think the IHSA let us. We could pair them right here in this office.
No, we probably could.
I think everybody, and I think every coach that we've talked to this morning, and the ones that's coming on, would even be excited.
They'd be happy with it.
They wouldn't agree with us.
You don't think they would?
I'm not sure the three of us could agree.
Oh, my goodness.
Selection committee down there.
Yeah.
We'd have to have majority wins on this deal here. I can tell you that.
Well, hey, Brian, I can't let you go without asking you about the crazy excitement of that Illini football game last week, beating Wisconsin. I mean, that I didn't see that coming. Did you?
Oh no, I didn't see that coming. I kind of give up on him. It's like I had stuff to do.
Too.
I thought, I said, I got some stuff to do. I had a nice weekend outside, and I wanted to get started and not hang around for that 11 o'clock start, because I knew if I watched, I'd just be mad when I finally did go out to work at noon. So I'm checking stuff on my phone, and I get toward the end, and I'm racing to the truck to get to the radio and racing to the truck to get home to watch the end of it.
Right.
But that's a good win, and I think probably Lovey's seat at home maybe cooled off a little bit.
Probably so. Probably so.
Yeah.
Especially if somehow Wisconsin finds a way to bounce back and beat Ohio State today. That could upset the apple cart a whole bunch, but I don't know if that'll happen or not. But,
yeah.
that was definitely a quality win for the program. And was it first time they've beat a top 10 team in
I forget
how many years? I don't know. It was crazy.
If they play good ball, they can win today and win next Saturday. They got Purdue and Rutgers.
Yeah.
Them's must-win games.
Yes, they are. And then maybe at the end of the year you get Northwestern and get to 500 and play some bowl game that we've never heard of before.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, you're the baseball coach up there at Florida, too, so put your baseball hat on right now. And what do you think of this World Series so far? Houston bounced back last night with a win. They had to have that last night, and so it's been an interesting series, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. I didn't expect the Nationals to take both those up, down in Houston in games 1 and 2, that's for sure. But I think tonight. I know it's not necessarily must win, but I think the Nationals need to win tonight. If just to get that 3-1 lead. If it gets back to 2-2, and I think the momentum and the favor swings back to Houston's way.
And Houston will have Garrett Cole going in Game 5. So
I think Houston's got the rookie going tonight. Is that right?
Yes.
And then then you got to face Cole and Verlander, and just kind of becomes the best 2 out of 3 series with Houston getting home field again. So I think Washington needs to win tonight.
I just can't see him beating Garrett Cole a second time. He's just too good. It's too good.
I agree there.
Because he'd won, 19 in a row before he lost the other night. So.
Was it back in May?
Back in May was last time he lost.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That guy would look good in St. Louis next year.
Well, tell me, Coach, are you having a watch party today in Florida or tonight?
Yeah, we are. The original plan was for us to go through the Halloween parade tonight here in Florida, and we were going to go through first, and that would kind of get us back to the school by 7:30, and because the parade's been canceled, but it's going to be rescheduled for tomorrow night. But we're still going to meet. Yeah, we're going to meet at 7:30 and order pizzas for the kids and kind of hang out and find out a little after 8, I guess, where we're going to be going.
All right. Well, it's going to be exciting, and we'll keep our fingers crossed that you get a good draw in that, and we wish you well as you prepare for the playoffs next week. All right?
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys.
Appreciate your time on the show today. Okay, take care, Brian.
Good luck.
Yep, thanks, guys.
Okay, bye-bye. That is Brian Tackitt, head football coach of the Florida Wolves, also the head baseball coach up there as well, and big-time Illini fan. So, as you could tell.
Yeah. You know what, guys? If you want to go to a pizza party tonight, I know there's about 5 or 6 of them.
I'm starting to, we got a theme going on
I know here.
I'm liking it.
If one of these coaches waves barbecue in my face, I'm out of here. I love barbecue.
Oh, man, that's great.
Well, I'm going to say they're going to have a big deal in Hamilton County tonight. The Baptist Church, as you come in town there by Radio Hill, has been having a thing they call the fifth quarter. After every football game, after every home game, they've been having a get-together, inviting people out and having the football team and stuff come out. My guess is they're probably going to have a big shindig there tonight. They had fire trucks.
I heard fire trucks was out last night.
The whole escort thing last night.
Which I think that's cool. When I seen that even on social media, that just kind of made me have chills.
One thing about it, we know how to escort them in. Billy, that's kind of a neat thing for all these kids to get to experience things like this. This will be things they never forget about.
Oh, I know. And and you go through these towns, and I miss the shoe polish on the windows and stuff,
Yeah.
Because some of these towns don't have the stores like they did back in the 70s and 80s, And I'm all for the fire trucks and the escorts and the pizza parties and the the shoe polish, go Foxes, go Lions, go whoever on the front windows. I'm all about that.
This is just high school sports are the things that draw small towns together.
That they do. It draws the communities together.
Yeah,
sure does.
I know there's a thing. When I was back refereeing, we'd get our packets in the mail and stuff like that, and they had a picture. We'd get our packets in the mail early in the year, and there'd be a picture of a big yellow school bus, and like a little quote saying, "There's nothing like getting on that big yellow school bus and heading to a game or something." And there's a lot. Just us officials in the car, hashing stuff out and talking about things, and it's just fun.
You talk about a big yellow school bus and quiet as a church mouse. I played for David Lee, and I guarantee you that school bus, that big yellow bus, was quiet as a church mouse.
Hey, speaking of the big yellow school bus, rumor has it that the Salem Wildcats bus just arrived back from Massac County a few minutes ago. And just stepping off the bus is a very happy Kevin Greene, head coach of the Wildcats, after a big win last night. He joins us right now on the Sports Couch. Good morning, Kevin. How are you?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Great. Good to have you on the show. Man, that's a long bus ride down to Massac County, but you made it worthwhile with a big win last night for your Wildcats as you springboard into the playoffs with a 28-14 win. Congratulations.
Thank you. It is a little bit of a drive, but it's a pretty easy drive, really, just heading down the interstate. And, a lot of credit goes to Coach Roper's kids at Massac County. I mean, they've had a tough couple of years here, but they're a much improved team this year than the team we saw last year, and their kids played really hard. And I'd say they're definitely one of the best 1-8 teams in the state. They're a few plays away from, being a 4 or 5 win team. There's no doubt about it. But our kids really did a nice job last night. It was a tough game to get motivated for. We'd already locked up a playoff spot, a non-conference game, long road trip, that kind of stuff. So, again, I was really proud of our kids. We had some guys have to step up and make some big plays for us. And, again, if you're going to be a 7-2 playoff team, you're going to have that at some point during the season.
Oh, yeah. Well, it was a tight game. It was a tight game all the way through, wasn't it?
It really was. I mean, we were able to punch a score in the second half to make it a 2-score game. But, again, their kids just grinded away and played a really nice job. They did a really nice job defensively. Offensively, they just do a really good job with their run game. They've got 2 or 3 backs that run really hard behind a really big offensive line. And, again, we had to grind it, and a lot of credit of that goes to their kids. They played their tails off.
Well, again, that win last night brings you to 7-2 on the season. You're in the Class 4A football playoffs. You'll find out later on tonight who you play. I'm sure you've been on the website, though, with the IHSA, trying to speculate and predict who they might pair you with, and it's really hard to say when you're sitting there at 7-2, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. The whole playoff points is such a it's 1 point or one game that you don't get for a team that you are looking at, and it can throw the whole thing off. So we're no different than anybody else. I mean, we look at all the speculations and stuff, and I'll tell you what, that's what's fun about it. Most of us most of the time aren't right, but it sure as heck is fun being in the hunt, and it sure as heck is fun being in the conversation. And again, we're just proud of our kids and happy for them to be able to do it a second year in a row.
Well, and, sitting at 7-2, I mean, you would think you would go on the road, but not necessarily. I mean, you could very well have a home game. Depends upon how many 5-4 teams they bring into the mix. And with the Chicago teacher strike shuffling the deck here a little bit, it looks like there could be a lot of 5-4 teams in, which means you might get a home game with a 5-4 team.
Yeah, I mean, I think there would be. That's always an outside possibility. I mean, I think we're at 7-2. Our points are pretty low.
Yeah.
I think we'd have to have quite a few dominoes fall to get a home game. But if they want to give us one, we're not going to turn it away. Let me tell you.
Sure.
No, I think it's like you said, the public school in Chicago, this right there, is throwing a lot of different scenarios into the situation, and again, it's just kind of a wait and see type game. I know there won't be as much movement today as what there typically is on pairing Saturday, just because there aren't very many, if any, there aren't any public league games today. There's just some suburban Saturday games. So,
right.
we'll see what happens. It's exciting time, though.
Yeah, well, we had Matt Music of the Olney Tigers on with us earlier, and of course his team's sitting there at 7-2, and he said it'd be all right if we paired his Tigers up with your Wildcats. He'd be good with that if you're good with that. So,
he did, huh?
Shall we do it that way? That'd be all right, huh?
Well, you know what? I think it would. There'd be a lot of layers to that game. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
We match up with them in the summertime a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Coach Music and his guys do a great job over there. We interact during the summertime with them some, and he's old Apollo Conference rival there. I think he started at Olney the same time I did here at Salem, and he's a really good guy. And we would like that matchup just more than anything else from a local rival standpoint, a former conference opponent, and it's a 45-minute bus ride.
Right. Well, and the point that he made, a good point that he made, he said it would be a smart thing for the IHSA to do because look at the gate there would be. Regardless whether it's played at Olney or Salem, look at the gate there would be for that game.
Yeah, you know what, and that's the thing too. Coach Music's really got it. He's got them moving over there really, really well. He's got a lot of support in their program. We were over there for junior tackle this fall, and they have a nice crowd for junior tackle. They got a nice big facility there, and obviously we're fortunate to be in a second year in a row. I think we'd have a nice crowd travel over, and that would be an exciting. There's no doubt there would be a lot of anticipation and a very exciting game that would be, and I think it'd be two pretty evenly matched teams. They've got some really nice athletes, and so do we, and both groups up front are coached well, so that would be a fun one. If you want to make a call to the IHSA and see if we can get that going, we'd appreciate it.
Okay, well,
I told him, Coach, a while ago that us three ought to just sit up here and get it done. And
that's right.
And
You guys probably wouldn't have nearly as much drama as what some of the.
No, you don't know this group very good.
I'm all about the pizza parties and all that too.
Well, another. Yeah, geographically, another possible opponent, I guess, that they could send you with if they're going to keep you with another 7-2 team would be Bethalto. I could see that matchup perhaps happening as well, just geographically.
Yeah, it is, and I'm not sure how we would be as excited about that game as what we would in Olney, but it's like we told our kids last night. It just doesn't matter. When you work as hard as you do to get to this point, it's all gravy, and whoever we draw tonight is going to be good.
Sure.
There's no pretenders. There's no pretenders at this point. So
no.
If we're going to be competitive in the game next weekend, no matter who we're playing, we're going to have to be good, and we're going to have to play really well. And I think our kids are excited about that opportunity to do that.
Yeah. You said you're on the road this morning. You're headed to a college visit, I think you said, right?
Well, actually, we called that off when we got up this morning because it's just pouring down rain here, and it's pouring in Decatur for basically the whole day. So we're going to go up and visit the campus when it's a little bit more sunshiny type day here. So,
Gotcha. What you got planned? You got something planned with the team tonight? Is there going to be a watch party or anything going on?
Yeah, we'll have we have all of our players and their families, and we invite the cheerleaders and their families, and we'll get together in the cafeteria. Our tech department sets up a couple big, huge TV screens in there for us, and we'll watch the show. We'll get them there about 7:30 for have pizza for them and stuff, and we'll watch the show. And I think they said the 4A is going to try to be out about 8:15 or so.
That's awesome.
So, a lot of exciting stuff, and it's it's an exciting day, exciting weekend.
That's awesome. Well, I think you said back-to-back years now in the playoffs, right?
It is, yeah. We made it last year, went 6-3, and lost to Paris in the first round. So, and that was the first time we've made it since 06. So, we're just trying to stack bricks here and get better every year and continue to be competitive every year. And again, it's fun that we're able to say that we've done it the second year in a row.
You bet. Health-wise, how are you going to be going into the playoffs next week? What's it look like, Kevin?
That's always a good question this time of year. We were a little dinged up the last couple of weeks, but I think we held a couple guys out last night just as precautionary. But I think we're going to be as close to 100% as we've been in several weeks. I think we'll have just about everybody ready to go, and nobody's 100% at this point, but I think we'll be in pretty good shape. We won't have anybody out, that's for sure. So that's exciting too. You want to go in with a full deck.
Oh, sure.
Get into this type of situation. So I think we'll be pretty close to that.
Absolutely. Well, again, congratulations on the win last night, that long trip to Massac County, picking up that seventh win of the season, and best of luck as you see who your playoff opponent's going to be. And I'm going to keep my fingers crossed, and I'm going to hope that they pair you with Olney, because I just think that'd be a great matchup for both teams.
Well, we'll keep our fingers crossed for that, too.
Yeah.
Appreciate you guys having me on. Thank you.
All right.
Good luck, Coach.
Good luck. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Coach Kevin Greene of the Salem Wildcats, and 7-2, and how about it, guys? Back-to-back years for him, and look at the program that he's building up there.
They've got things turned around up there at Salem. the basketball program and the football program. Getting out of that Apollo conference has been a great move for that school system up there. And
they've got some really good coaches up there at Salem too. Some good guys. I mean, not just good X's and O's on the field or on the court, but guys who do a great job of building these young men into productive adults. And I think that's so important.
It is good. It's major role.
Yeah, they've done a really, really good job up there at Salem. And
when you can get it all together to where sometimes you'll see, and over the last 20, 30 years, you got a bad basketball program, but the football program's something different, and blah, blah, blah the other way, But when you get a couple, 3 coaches in there, and Fairfield's an example. Along with Salem and now, I'm hoping Hamilton County will be the same way. You're getting a good baseball coach in there, you're getting a good football coach, getting a good basketball coach. It's teaching the kids, what they need to be taught. And
these small schools only have so many athletes. And you got to have 3 or 4 good leaders at the helm that are willing to share these kids and work with each other. Those guys got to have a bond. And when those guys don't have a bond, there ain't nobody else does.
It's not
if you're trying to steal my kid to come play football, that I need him to be working on basketball time. But when basketball time, he needs to be letting him go over here to play baseball. They've got to share these few athletes. When you try to make kids pick and choose because you become selfish as a coach, that's the downfall of the whole programs, of all of them.
And I've seen that back in when I was in high school, between 72 and 76, you'd have some coaches that you're not playing football because I don't want you hurt. I'm like, now I've got, besides my dad telling me what to do, I've got a coach telling me what to do. I'm like, no, there's nothing wrong with 3 and 4 letter sports athletes.
Well, and if you ask many of the Division I major college basketball coaches or football coaches what kind of athlete they would prefer to have and recruit, they'll tell you a multi-sport athlete.
And they're always in shape.
Because they've used different muscle groups. They're more coordinated. They're more able to be more flexible, I guess. And they just do. There's many, many reasons why they prefer a multi-sport athlete instead of somebody who just specializes in the same sport year-round.
Yeah, you're starting to really see coaches at the college level come out and talk about this, playing all this AAU stuff.
Yeah.
That's directing kids just to one area. They're really starting to come out against it because they're seeing it hurt their talent level.
Yeah.
Just 10, 15 minutes ago, we was talking about how intimidating varsity football is out there. Okay, you take two or three kids out there that's a junior, senior, that's on the varsity football team, and you throw him on a basketball court. All right, his intimidation is over with.
Yeah.
I've bumped bodies with this kid over here for, and now it's basketball season. I'm not intimidated no more. I've been out there, in the wet and the mud and the yuck and the 38 degrees and 4 inches of rain and
you take today's game over at Edwards County. Now that is going to be miserable.
Yeah,
it's miserable.
It'll be absolutely miserable. If this was playoff Saturday, wouldn't this be a terrible day?
Boy,
I tolerated
really
a game one Friday night, and I'm very cold-natured. I hate the cold. And I was doing real good till I got my right foot wet, and I was a finished player. I stepped in a low place, and it had 8 inches of water in it. And I'm in the locker room, and it was right before halftime, and I'm putting like Ziploc baggies, bunny bread wrappers, trying to round my feet and socks and getting,
Hey guys, last night up at East Lansing, Michigan, they raised the Final Four banner for the Michigan State Spartans.
Oh, I knew sometime today we'd be heading.
And they passed out the rings last night and everything. And
I'm hoping it keeps going. We're going to do that in a 3 years. In Champaign.
Hey, Tom Izzo, he always dresses up for this special celebration that they do every year too, where they introduce the ladies' teams and the men's team, and they raise the banner. And they had some musical artist there last night, too, who was a Michigan State alumni. But anyway, he always dresses up as some kind of a character or something when he comes out. Last night he was dressed up as the Incredible Hulk. Tom Izzo, the Incredible Hulk.
Oh, Tom Izzo.
Love it. You gotta love it. But they are preseason ranked number 1 in college basketball this year after making the Final Four last year, and they'll play number 2 Kentucky right away on November 5th. What a great way to start the basketball season.
You know,
Man.
Tom's took some heat over the years about playing these hard teams first.
Oh, he does.
You know, and
right out of the gate.
Yeah, you know, you got some of these teams that's padding their schedules are 17-0 and can't crack the top 25.
Now wait a minute. Now, Michigan State in football, the first 7 games they played, you never even heard of the schools.
Well, you haven't heard the Sisters of St. Mary's?
Yeah, or Central Florida A&M or something like that. So don't sit here and tell me about how tough a schedule these guys play. Come on, let's get serious. Back to this World Series. If the Astros win tonight, are they going to win this thing?
Good.
I tell you,
I'm like Coach Walgo. Nationals got to win tonight.
I think it's a very crucial game for Nationals.
I was kindly surprised. I didn't know who was going to win or lose. I didn't predict it. I was kindly surprised of Washington coming out as flat as home. That's what they did, because I was talking to my buddy Brent the other night, and I said, you know that Washington, D.C. is going to be rocking Friday night. It's going to be louder than Busch Stadium and Wrigley Field ever thought about being, you know. But I just thought they'd come out. They were just pretty flat. Of course, they had some competition. Washington's got to win tonight. I'm with Coach on that.
It'll be interesting to see if they don't. But talking about rocking and rolling, I think over at Carmine White County it was rocking and rolling last night.
A 35-0 shutout last night for the Hamilton County Foxes to propel them to the playoffs. You think Jeff Brush is kind of excited or not?
Has he got dried off?
I don't know. Let's find out.
Warmed up and dried off.
Jeff, are you with us there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. Hey, you got to be excited this morning. How big is that smile?
Oh, I tell you what, I'm really proud of these guys. They've done a great job coming together here in the second half of the season. And, they put together quite a run to make the playoffs. Last 3 games for us basically has been a playoff game. And we had to win to keep in and, keep us relevant, and that's what these guys did. They pulled it together really well.
Yeah, Jeff, your team is on a roll right now. You're a very dangerous 5-4 team, in my opinion. Your defense has shut a 8-8-0 the last 3 games, and things are your offense. We talked earlier last time I was here. We was talking about you was just working on some small things to get things clicking, and it looks to me like you got them clicking.
Yeah, we were able. One couple of big things that we were able to do last night. We had some passes that we completed. That helped back some things off so that the run game opened up a little bit more, and that was something that we knew that we were going to have to do coming in. And, the kids, the offensive line gelled real well. Defensive line did the same thing. And we had some really good work done by our running backs. So I was really happy with them and just the way their performance was.
One of the neat pictures I saw on social media last night was after the game, one of your big offensive linemen come over there after he missed you with the water bucket and was putting you in a bear hug.
Yeah, it's exciting. I mean, these guys, they haven't got the experience. Some of these guys were in diapers the last time we went to the playoffs. So, it's been an exciting time, and I'm happy for Coach Chapman. I'm happy for Coach Harmon, because they get that opportunity also, to be involved with that, and something that they never got to be involved in. So, even from the coaches on down, it's just something that's been really exciting for the team. And it, means a lot to them. It means a lot to these guys. It means a lot to the kids. They put in the work, and the coaches have put in the work, and, it's really exciting for them. And I'm really happy for everybody. That's the main thing I am.
The community.
I'm happy for the coaches and everything.
The community also, Jeff, they're excited, they're enthused. I think your fire truck escort last night kind of showed how much the community wants to be. Everybody loves a winner.
Yeah.
And, they'll just keep coming out in droves for your football team now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was really something neat. I mean, that was my first one. Never had one of those, so that was pretty cool. And never got to do that before, even when I was playing in Oklahoma, and we never had anything like that. So that was a great time last night. And I really appreciate the emergency people coming out and doing that, the sheriffs and the fire truck and the ambulance. That was really cool. We really appreciated that.
Well, Coach, I can tell the excitement in your voice this morning with these headphones on. I'm ecstatic for you. Being from McLeansboro and going to McLeansboro High School, and when it comes to football season, we don't go every year. It's few and far between on years, but there's probably nobody more excited for you than I am right now, and last night even.
Well, I appreciate. That's what I mean. It's been a great thing for the town, and the parents, the football parents, have all come together. They've done a great job with the food that they provide after the game and before the game. Mr. No and Ms. No, they do a great job doing that. And I tell you what, it's been a really wonderful experience here, especially in the last couple of weeks.
I was talking with the guys earlier, Jeff. I was telling them about the Baptist Church getting involved with your program and having that fifth quarters after every home football game and encouraging people to come, trying to establish that bond with the kids and the community. I thought that's just a great thing.
It is, and the people that put in like that, and they put that extra stuff in there, it means a lot to these kids. And the fact that we're supported the way we are by our administration and Mr. Fetcho, McCollum, and Mr. Hall, and Mr. Weinmiller, and Mr. Miller, they've all done a great job in supporting these kids and trying to, and helping out with the program. I mean, they do the stuff behind the scenes that nobody sees also, and we really appreciate that.
Well, Coach, I wasn't surprised that you won the game last night. I thought you had a real good chance of going down there and beating Carmi, even though both teams came in at 4-4. But I was really surprised you went down there and threw a shutout against them on their field during senior night. I mean, even Fairfield didn't shut out Carmi. So, I mean, that's such a huge accomplishment.
It is, and, our defense has played really well all year. I know that they were banged up also a little bit. We've been banged up ourselves. And, the defense has really been one of our mainstays. It's been something we've been able to hang our hat on all year, and was really happy and proud of them of the way they played and the stuff that Coach Harmon and Coach Chapman put together.
Well, something I've noticed, Coach, is it seems like Garrett Webb, your running back, has really picked up his pace here the last 3 or 4 weeks of the season for you, and it's kind of took your offense to a different level.
When you get a physical running fullback, it makes everything that much easier. And when you can soften up the middle and find those little spots off tackle, and you get the blocking that he's gotten in front of him, it makes things really go really well. Because once he gets beyond that line of scrimmage, he's pretty tough customer to bring down. So we've been really happy with his performance, and just the way that he's been able to get his shoulder pads down a little bit better here, especially in the last 3 weeks, has really helped out his game.
Your offense, you look back on a couple of games. I'm sure you're thinking this morning's would-have, could-haves, and should-haves. You had a 14-12 game, a 14-0 game that if those teams played you right now, I don't think the outcome would be the same.
It'd be about like last night.
And you got to be thinking, man, if we could have just snuck a couple more in here.
Let's do a do-over.
It's like you said, though, and we can't worry about that.
Oh, no.
That's the way it goes.
No.
That's the way it goes, and we haven't looked back. Everybody knew, that situation there, so we haven't looked back since and just focus on the next thing, because that's, that'll kill you quick. So the kids have done a good job staying focused.
Have you won 4 in a row now?
Well, it's 4 out of the last 5.
4 out of the last 5.
4 out of the last 5.
Yeah.
4 out of the last 5.
Yeah. But, looking back on that Edwards County Johnson City game, okay, I'm with Coach Rush on this. Let's don't worry about it, because it was at the first of the season. But right now, you guys are playing excellent football, and right now is when who coulda, woulda, shoulda, whatever. But right now is it's kind of like the Worship Nationals going into the playoffs. Mm-hmm. You guys are playing your football right now, and that's when it really means and matters.
Yeah, it's it's once you're in, anything can happen.
Yeah.
You're always going to run up. We're going to have to play a team that's 9-0 or 8-1. That's who we're going to have to play. It's going to be a very good football team. Everybody that's in has gotten there for a reason, because they've been able to do things well either throughout the season or here at the end of the season. So that's where we're at. That's the challenge that we have, and we haven't won a playoff game since I've been here, but nonetheless, I would rather be 0-3 in the playoffs than 0-0 in the playoffs. So
I would too. I would too. Yeah.
So we're in, and we've done the things that to get us to have a chance.
And Coach, you've been around sports as long as I have. You may get an 8-1, 9-0 team. You don't know what's going to happen. We had a coach earlier saying their starting senior quarterback was out last night on senior night with the flu. Between flus and injuries, who knows? When it comes to sports, you can't count anything out.
No, you can't. And, a turnover here,
right,
a fumble, or a snap that goes over somebody's head can change the course of the game. So what's important is that we have a chance.
Right.
That's what's important, and we have the opportunity, and we got to the point to have the opportunity.
Yeah.
So
well,
that's the important part.
We can, of course, sit here and speculate as to who your opponent might be, and I'm sure you've looked at that a little bit, and none of us really knows what the IHSA is going to do.
I look at it and get my eyes crossed, because I don't know how they figure it out.
I hear you.
So I quit worrying about it until about 8 o'clock tonight.
Some scenarios, though, if people want to look at it, is if you're looking at an 8-1 team, certainly Nashville or Pana could be a team that you could face in the 2A playoffs. But if you have a bunch of these 5-4 teams like yourself that are in it, which looks like could be the case too, you could be playing somebody 6-3, and you could play the Flora Wolves and at 6-3. And Brian Tackitt said he'd be all right with that. Your former player.
I was going to say, Brian. I remember Brian playing for me when I was at Flora, so. Hopefully, I didn't teach him everything. So maybe I taught him everything he knows, but not everything I know. I hope that's the way that would turn out. But it would be fun to go back to there too. So
left a couple tricks in your back pocket to pull on him.
I hope so.
Yeah. Well, are you having? I know you're having that watch party tonight. I think at the church, right? So
I don't know if they are.
Is that what you got going tonight? They got a party tonight, Coach?
The kids may have. I'm not sure.
Okay.
My brain is so scrambled right now. I'm trying to get things together and get something worked out and how we're going to trade and that type of thing.
Sure.
So I'm kind of involved on the business end at the moment. So,
Gotcha.
I'm sure the kids will get together and and if they're going to a church, I know they'll be behaving themselves, I hope, so everything will be good to go. So that'll be awesome.
Well, Coach, congratulations. Enjoy the moment. Sometimes they're hard to come by, and hopefully this is the beginning of several trips for your Foxes.
Well, I hope so. And, it's after this is this year, next year, and then somebody else gets to take over. So hopefully we keep this going and establish something for the next couple of years.
Well, congratulations on putting an end to, I think, what was a 13-year drought, since
13 years.
You've been in the playoffs.
Everybody kept asking me that. I was like, I just remember who the kids were. I don't remember the years.
Yeah.
And wasn't you at the helm then, too?
Yes.
Yeah.
2006.
Yeah, 2006, I think, last time. Yeah.
Hey, we'd be amiss before we let you go here. Don't you feel that some of the benefit this is related to the junior football program of getting kids interested at a young age, teaching them some things, and now you've got to put your stamp on them and kind of coming up with the finished product?
It does nothing but help. I'll tell you that right now. It is Jonathan Rush down there. Those guys do a good job. They volunteer their time to get involved with these kids in the community and start getting them taught. There's been years where, when you got freshmen, you're trying to get them to understand where the, thigh pads go in their pants. And, you don't have to, there's stuff like that.
That's right. That's the things people don't realize.
Coming out of 8th grade, I didn't go out for football because I had no clue I didn't even know how to dress.
Right.
We played.
And believe it or not, I used to have practices just to do that, just to explain how to put your stuff on properly.
And you know,
if they asked the senior, it was never going to get put on properly.
No, backward.
Yeah, backwards and everything else.
Yeah.
So I tell those kids, the last person you ask how to put something on is the senior. Don't ask them.
I know my two grandkids are in high school right now, and my wife's like, well, now if you get lost, ask somebody. And I said, don't ask a senior.
Yeah, don't ask a senior. No.
Yeah. You know, when I come out of grade school, we went from playing softball to baseball.
Right.
You know, we didn't have baseball in grade school back then. It was softball.
Yeah, but you're older than dirt.
Well, I know.
Well, Coach, congratulations. Hopefully you get you a good draw here tonight, and look forward to playing in Week 10.
Go Foxes.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it, and I appreciate it, guys. Thanks.
All right, good luck.
Good luck,
Coach.
Jeff.
Bye-bye. Jeff Rush, the head football coach of the Hamilton County Foxes. 13-year drought coming to an end for the Foxes making the playoffs. That's got to be a great feeling.
Yeah, I think the last time the Foxes won a playoff game was in 1978.
Woo, boy. Way back there. What you got there, Billy?
Yeah, I think you're right. Because
Ken Anselment and Maury Reed and those guys, Jim McGill.
What year would
they were seniors?
What year did you say?
77, 78.
Well, I know they went 92, 93, and 86 and 87, but they lost.
Yeah, 78, I think, is the last time they won.
Wow.
They've been.
All right.
You're about right.
Well, hey, there's a big college football game today, Ohio State and Wisconsin. That'll be a big one at 12 noon today. Wonder if it's going to be raining there.
I don't know, but I'd say Wisconsin's got.
They got something to prove after getting beat by Illinois. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. And then we might have a big matchup between Ohio State and Penn State for the Big Ten title maybe down the road here. I don't know. We'll see.
Who's the Spartans opening with in basketball?
Kentucky.
First game?
Yeah. Number 1 against number 2. Yeah.
Okay.
That was what I was talking about earlier about their good competition, not the football program.
Yeah.
No, they was playing.
I know. I was really hoping I was really hoping they was going to play some kind. Well, they've
Liberty or
probably got some
like
preseason games or something that.
Well, there probably is a preseason game, but as far as real games, the first real game is Kentucky. So yeah, that'll be good.
Yeah. Salukis played their preseason game the other night. Minnesota State, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. And high school hoops just around the corner, and in fact, junior high is already started, guys, for both the boys and girls. And you can see a lot of the junior high scores on our website here at AreaSports.net. In fact, the Rome tournament will be happening here soon.
Yeah.
It's always a big one.
High school be around week Thanksgiving?
Girls. Yeah. Well, few of the boys' teams start Thanksgiving.
Tournaments, yep. We're about there.
We'll be kicking off girls' basketball season with the Hamilton County Lady Foxes Thanksgiving tournament.
Yep, we're about there. Volleyball. Boy, the Fairfield Lady Mules going to be tough out in volleyball. Hamilton County girls have had a good season. They're 19-9, I think.
19-9, I read it, yeah.
Yeah, they beat Edwards County the other night. That was a big quality.
Well, that's a sport I wished I'd got into. That's easy to officiate. I didn't know much about it. You stand
on a chair. Huh?
I started to say, if you was going to be an official, now why would you do anything? This guy stands back here by this line.
Holds his hand
out, in, out, in, out, in. You know, there's not a lot of controversy to that as long as you can see the line.
Yeah, Billy could probably do that.
You know what?
I'm not sure he could see the line.
Oh, God.
I went to Thompsonville one night to a bowl game, and I don't know what the deal was on it. They had like it wasn't a JV and a varsity basketball game. It was like a varsity volleyball game and then a varsity basketball game.
Mm-hmm.
And we got there early, and we're sitting there, and I'm sitting right behind the official, and somebody looks at me, and they kind of recognize us, and said, "Hey, Ref, why didn't you become a volleyball official?" And I'm like, it's like watching paint dry. I'm like I had to have action. I'd be a yawning or.
Well, I think the quality of the volleyball play has really changed in the last decdecade.
It has.
I mean, if you go back 10 years ago, they weren't playing volleyball to the level they are now.
No.
The talent level has really gotten so much better.
Us three could go out there with some seniors, and they'd just cream us. Then
these girls can play.
You can get on Channel 3 or ESPN and see even some of these junior or colleges.
Oh yeah,
they've got some girls out there, guys.
They'd hurt you.
Well, I was watching a little bit of the Illinois-Minnesota battle the other night, a Big Ten volleyball, and I'd never, I don't sit there and watch volleyball on TV very much, but the other night, I mean, it just was captivating because
yeah.
both teams were nationally ranked in the top 10 and going at it. I mean to tell you, these rallies were lasting a long time, and they were hitting the ball hard.
Oh, yeah.
Spike after spike after spike. It was exciting.
Yeah, it would. I'm telling you, it would hurt any one of the three of us if they spiked one on us, and we got in the way.
And every one of those girls was 6'5" or 6'6".
I know. It's
crazy.
Yeah, it's like tall drink of water now.
They are. All right. Anything else, guys?
Go Cardinals.
Go Cardinals.
Go Cardinals. Yeah. Go Cubbies.
Had to slip that one in.
He did.
All right, that's going to wrap it up for today's edition of the Sports Couch. Thanks again to all of our guests, Justin Townsend, Matt Music, Brian Beery, Brian Tackitt, Kevin Greene, and Jeff Rush. Hope you enjoyed the show. We'll do it again next Saturday morning, the Sports Couch here on AreaSports.net.